Hey Team Titleist, Cameron Young here, and I'm going to take you through my bag. Starting with the golf ball, I play the left dot Pro V1. I have for a long time now. That's been probably my longest standing piece of equipment in the bag is that ball. For me, the spin is a huge deal, and for me that ball, just as I hit partial shots, the flight and the spin just stay in a really predictable range for me. I don't like to see it launching super high. I feel like that kind of signals loss of control to me. So for me, the driver launching in that high 8 to 9 degree range is just probably a little lower window than most. But for me, that's just where I feel like as it rises, that's where I get a kind of an apex that I like to see, that I feel like I can control. I go back and forth whether I'm using the line to putt, and I've had short stints of trying other colors if the ball just will not go in the hole. I've tried blue, I've tried green for a week or two here and there, but I always come back. The line on my putter's black, and so I just always come back to a black line and lining those two up and hitting the putt. I guess the other thing I do with it is on the tee, I'll put it kind of on whichever side I'm working it away from for whatever reason. Like when I go to hit a draw, I put the line on the outside. Same thing when I putt. If I'm not using a line, when I get a right to left putt, I'll put the big black stripe on the outside, kind of on the high side. For whatever reason, it's just how it makes sense in my head to look down at it. Next up, we'll go through the driver. We got Tensei 1K Series 70 TX orange. I don't know that much about it, but it's I've been in a very similar shaft for this for a long time. I mean, I played the white one for a long time. That's the shaft, and then I've just got a GT2 9 degree set on A1, a little tape on the bottom just to get some weight up near the face to try to take a little bit of spin out of it, just to make that number go down. And just like that, when I go to hit anything left to right, that the spin doesn't jump up too much. But it's been a really good change. I feel like I was more comfortable with this right off the bat than really anything previously. So it was a very easy switch. I went from the 3 to the 2, and I've really had no trouble doing that and making that switch, and I've driven it pretty well thus far. Next up, I've got 2 3-woods in the bag currently. I will decide which one to use any day, but I've got a 13.5 GT2 and a 15 degree GT3. And kind of what you think, that GT2 is a little bigger head, kind of more geared toward just consistency off the tee. And for me, sometimes I feel like I need a little more versatility. This week we're here at the Travelers, and there's several holes where I feel like I need to hit some different shots with a 3-wood off the tee, especially the drivable 15th hole. I just think that I need the ability to manipulate it a little bit more than I do with that 13.5 degree 3-wood. So we're trying that out. And then typically I've got a 3 iron in the bag, T350. Right now, that is being worked on currently. So I have a hybrid in there, a 21 degree hybrid that I have just begun to experiment with. Kind of more, if I get some tee shots where I feel like I need something to fly 250 and stop versus 245 and rolling, which would be the 3 iron. That might go into play. We'll see. I don't have a ton of experience playing with it. I used to a long time ago, but the last few years I've kind of been on the 3 iron, so that's a little bit of a test. And then we go into irons. I've got T200 4 iron. I've had very similar setup for a long time. I've got that, and then I've got a T100 5 iron. And then my blades, my custom ones, the 631.CY, which is still really cool. I have not gotten over that yet. But yeah, it started just as basically a question. It was, hey, if your irons could do anything different, what would they do? Well, I said, help me, not dig quite as quickly into the ground at impact, and if anything, launch a little higher. So what they did was they used to kind of grind off the front here a little pre-wear, and now they build them in. They're forged that way, and then they widened the sole just a hair, just a touch wider than the standard blades, and move the weight just a little bit down in the back here. So on your standard blades, this part would kind of be blended in a little bit more, and it would be a little farther up here, which just helps me launch it just a little bit. I got probably 5 to 8 feet of apex height out of it, which to the eye, actually, you can see pretty clearly. So yeah, it was started with that question, and then I think it was 1 year from then, they came and handed me a blank iron and said, here, hit this. And I hit about 3 shots. They said, what do you think? I said, that seems great. Didn't hear from them for about 6 more months, and then they handed me a 6 iron. And I said, that feels great. And then all of a sudden, bang, I had my own set, and I wouldn't change anything about them. They're honestly everything I could have ever asked for.
Didn't you take it off the truck at Memorial?
I stole it, yes. I think I knew it was mine, but no one told me, and I just kind of said, hey, I'm gonna take this out to the range. And yeah, I don't know if that was their favorite action that I've taken, but I did give it back to them. And this is the final product here. And then wedges, I've got 48 and 52, these two here. And then 56 and 62. That is the K-Star. Yep. The 62 is a 60 bent a little weak, just to get the bounce right. But that's what I use mostly around the greens. So I've got a little bit more bounce than I used to have. I probably last time we did this, I was on a very low bounce version of it. And we went to this just to help improve bunker play. And I lose a little bit on some of the really wide open face stuff out of the fairway, but I'm growing up. I'm trying not to do the stuff like that as much. So we've gone to a little higher bounce, a little help out of the bunkers. And I think a little better on some of the, partial 60, 70, 80 yarders as well. That one was a switch we made just over a year ago. PGA Championship Valhalla. I came to Aaron Dill and was having some issues, and he said, hey, try this. And I think I went 10 for 10 out of bunkers that week, and it's been ever since. The putter. So this, I've actually had a really, really good year putting. And I've always been one to switch around a little bit with the putter, but I'm pretty well on this one for now. I've putted with it now, some version of this head really from most of the year. Had a little different neck for a minute there. I had a knuckle neck in there, which is just a little longer, a little more offset. And this is what I had been putting with before, this style neck. So they stuck that on there, and yeah, so it's a T9.5, just kind of sandblasted finish with that black line that we spoke about earlier. But yeah, it's I feel like just a really, really nice clean look. The long line helps with my alignment. And yeah, I've putted really nicely lately. I just had him refinish it actually because it was getting a little bit worn, and it came out looking brand new. So I'm been really, really happy with this one. I actually like that there's less contact there, because I feel like you get more consistent kind of soling of it on different types of grass. Other putters I've had, at times I feel like you go from Bermuda to Poa annua to bent, and it just sits on the ground differently. It's very hard to explain, but so I used to carry 2 or 3 different putters, and I've still usually take 2 with me, but the other one just goes in the locker, and if I ever really need it, it's there. But recently I haven't needed her, so this one's been good. Scotty's the best. I think they've always had, a reputation for extremely high quality. And I think it feeds into all the feel stuff that you guys at Titleist do. I mean, the feel to me is just what I want. Kind of just that milled face, solid piece of metal. That's what I've always liked.